Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Strategic Feminine here on YouTube. And of course, we like to focus on all things feminine, all things girly, all things womanly in essence. So if you're interested, don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the video. So today we're going to talk about all things exotical. I've been seeing lots of things swarming around the community, and it seems like an unescapable elephant in the room on my channel. So I want to do a deep dive. This is going to be different from any of the other videos on my channels, as it's not a versus, more as a overlook of my two previous videos along with the information I learned. So if you're interested, come on in, y'all. So I can't start this off without getting into some historical context of what exotic meant in America. In the 1950s specifically, you have newspaper clippings of black and white American people talking about exotic women, women from foreign countries, like Japanese women, being better wives or better mates than American women. Somewhat similar of what you hear now on YouTube with the manosphere.
There's a more vain bitch than black women. And then they constantly want you to protect them, feel bad for them. Fuck them. I can, this right here lets you know white women are way better than black women, period. As a matter of fact, this lets you know every other race of woman is better than black women.
Truth, that is. Most black women don't want that nice guy. And we've gone over that and talked about that in so many of my videos. How the black nerd is completely ignored for every other race of dude who may also be a nerd, but black women are not checking for the black one.
So I was talking to my mom, because of course I'm always talking to my mom, and she told me, and I was able to do a quick little deep dive in the past, that exotical at her age, and it wasn't exotical at the time, this is the predated text exotic, meant the women who were overseas. She mainly attributed to Korean and Filipino women or Asian women, but men would talk about it as like mail order brides or something of that nature because they're more submissive or their difference in culture to American women. Foreign women is a context too, because foreign would mean not necessarily native to America, as well as foreigner, which was popular in 2016, 2017, 2015. I know you knew the girl on Instagram from your high school who was foreign face brat. And I'm just here to tell you that all of those things are not inherently wrong, separate. But when we talk about this huge conglomerate, which is the exotical multiverse, I think you'll be interested to learn what I did by making two videos already about them and then kind of snooping around the space, if I do say so myself. So, foreign women or foreigners were terms made by men um, very early in the 1950s, but you can see it went more modern as we get closer to the 2010s, and people started to use exotic as a word instead. Exotic was a little bit more broader. It didn't isolate women who were from other countries. Exotic spoke about women who maybe didn't look native to America, but that is very, very loose, because you can be an exotic woman and be Hispanic, mestiza Hispanic, or traditionally such, and then you could be exotic and be Asian. You could also be exotic and be mixed. You could be exotic and be monoracially black, but maybe you're imported from another country to America. Your features wouldn't be the standard. And that is what the overall definition seems to be about exotic women overall. When I've been doing my, snoops and stuff, that seems to be the general consensus. And while I took some time to define what exotical means, I'm going to take some time to explain what black means. Because Exotical United and many channels like her are black centered. Black is probably the most ambiguous, diverse community you can be in. You can be black American, you can be black Latino, you can be black UK, you can be black Aboriginal, or you can also be black and in Africa from the motherland and connected to your tribe still. And I see that women like Ice Spice, Beyonce, Veronica Vega, Cardi B are able to pass off in a space while they have very little of the admixture to support them even being in the space in the first place. But all's well when you're getting paid. So you have these women who will use their 30% admixture of black ancestry to sell to the black community, but other themselves and mistreat black friends or employees due to their own biases. And then all of a sudden they're still millionaires off of the black community. Like there's just nothing you could do. So that's why I believe that a lot of women are not being honest about how ambiguous black actually is. Because if you really wanted to center how ambiguous non black was, they would do that. But clearly, non black is very cut and dry. If there's a non black space, we know who's entered. And a lot of things that the mixed girls don't tell you is that when there's like a group or a party and it's a mixed girl who's mixed with black and there's non-black friends and maybe it's you, a darker skinned woman, she understands that innately her non-black friends will look at her closer to a monoracial black girl than they would them as full non-black people. I've seen this happen to me personally, so don't say that doesn't happen. But that's how they kind of try to dodge and dip and mix around. They want to benefit from all communities, but they really benefit the most in the black community, and that's why they stay and complain. When I made my first video and second video, I was under the impression that the Exotical United platform operated under the Goldensphere, and that the Goldensphere was for mixed and light-skinned women with the 50% admixture. That seemed pretty traditional. But it seems as though Exotical United and her channel defies those bounds entirely too.
You basically now at this point qualify to be an exotical if you feel like you're an exotical. That's it. You could just be, you can have any type of features you want. As long as you feel like you're an exotical, you're welcome there. And I see a lot of black women in the comments of all skin tones and all different features, but in particularly dark-skinned monoracial black women, as she likes to call them, unambiguous black women, all in the comment section pandering to her, even though it's very clear that they are monoracial and they are doing exactly what she says that monoracial black women do. They are putting another phenotype on a pedestal, and they are basically paying her exotical tax by wanting to be included into her space so bad. I have a video of her addressing all this, and then I'm going to come back with more commentary.
Side effect is that monoracial black women are beginning to embrace their admixtures. So here on this channel, I differentiate between admixture and mixed race. When I say mixed race, I'm talking about those who have 25% or more non-black ancestry. And when I use the term admixture, I'm referring to those who have less than 25% non-black ancestry. So an example of a monoracial exotical would be someone like Tyra Banks. Tyra Banks, in my opinion, is monoracial because she has about, I think, 80 or somewhere, like a very high percentage of African. She has less than 25% non-black ancestry, but all of her recessive genes just happen to show up in her phenotype. So you don't understand.
All right, we're back, coffee cuties. So it was brought to my attention from one of my subscribers. Her name is Foreign Black Girl. She also has her own YouTube channel, so be sure to check it out. She brought to my attention that mixed race content creators are also not happy with the fact that Exoticals United is now pandering to black women and moving away from her original message. I'm going to insert that video and then come back with more commentary.
We thought that EU would do damage control because that would be the smart thing to do. No, instead she doubles down, and now she's kind of going with the black girls, in my opinion. And I feel like that's why her channel has grown so fast and so much, is because it's a bunch of black women that are subscribed to her. Because at the end of the day, we are a minority within a minority. And Gigi's channel shows it, my channel shows it, everybody else's channel shows it but hers, because I really do feel like she has dropped the whole MLS bullshit, and now she's just caping for black women at the end of the day. So her channel may have started out as one thing, but it's definitely not that today.
If I'm being quite honest, it is most accurately described under this example. It seems to me that the exotic women, not formerly known as foreign women, now known as exotical women, are defined by women who are beneficiaries of colorism, texturism, featureism, and white supremacy. Overall, we understand that white supremacy had a number to do with multiple different cultures, not just including black folks, where multiple cultures will try to emulate or assimilate to the closest thing to whiteness they can. In Asia and Korea, you see women who wear 10 shades lighter makeup. They wear tape under their makeup to have a slimmer face. They wear tape on their nose to have a slimmer nose. And that is the beauty standard in Korea. But I never see y'all not liking a K-pop album just because of an internalized inferiority complex in Korean women, but on the YouTube space specifically. And why we're talking about Exotical United today is because she doesn't center non black women in her community or talking point. That is not what her platform is made for. It is strictly made to be a mixed or adjacent space in the black community as a response to black woman empowerment that had completely changed the face of media from the 2010s. And I did want to say this because I got a lot of comments on my last couple of videos. Black woman empowerment was able to add black people in places they never were before, whether that be tokenism, whether that be pandering. We hear a lot of those words go around. But I just am happy sometimes to see a girl that looks like me when back in the early 2010s, as an unambiguous dark American woman, that wasn't always the case. I didn't always have the luxury of seeing the daughters look like me. Or sometimes I would, and then the character would switch mid season and then they're mixed in light skin all of a sudden. But part of the exotical talking point is that black women internalize the exotical beauty standard overall. And although I can give them a spade, I do see it far more than I like to see. I do not see them recognize that a lot of the backlash with their channel is that we want to see black women in more positive lights and have fought for it for years. But honestly, I feel like Exotical United is the pot calling the kettle black. If you look into her comment section, you're going to see a multitude of monoracial, dark-skinned, black, more than 85% Sub-Saharan phenotype, gene, DNA, whatever you want to call it. You will see majority of those women that look closer to a you or me than a Bernice Burgos, a Zendaya, or a Cassie under here claiming Exotical and repping Exotical hard as heck. And Exotical says, well, if you can find the people cosplaying as mixed girls, put them in put them in the video. So I'm just going to show you guys this here of her actual comment section and the unambiguous black women who call themselves Exotical women. So then to see that another smear campaign for black women is heavily upon us makes the girls agitated. And I can understand getting agitated. I see a lot of people get really emotional about this topic, but I'll let you know here on the strategic side, we do not do that. We do not get emotional. We get tactful and very, very direct. I would also like to mention I do believe that although Exotical United's channel is very well crafted, and I do not have any personal hate towards a content creator, because let me tell you guys, that's ridiculous. And just to remind you, this is the internet. I do think that some of her rhetoric is a bit irresponsible, and I have to say that as someone who could share the insecurities of some of these women who are plastered all over her channel for views, likes, monetization purposes.
It's like something like, yeah, stop talking with that hairline, like, oh, your voice makes me angry. Okay, like, okay. And whenever someone like is like making fun of your appearance, you just have to act like you did not hear them, or like you're being dumb, because it really hurts.
Okay, so she said anytime someone makes fun of your appearance, you have to act like you did not hear them. That's false. And so I feel like another social climbing mistake that women with inferiority complexes make is having a lack of boundaries, allowing people to say negative things about your looks and then repeating those negative things about yourself in front of a global audience on TikTok. Or instead of her reporting that person to the teacher, she is now repeating how ugly this random person at her school thinks she is in front of tens of thousands of people.
Yeah, it's not really to do with being ugly, but yeah, to do with being of dark skin, which this is the same thing.
And another question for people who get really upset about this is, why do you care about the person who thought you were ugly in school?
Bad. They become like my parents, and like me being dark skinned, like me being black, like me being like black in general, like me having to be quiet and stuff, and like why would you do that? Let's not forget about the fact that I get ignored when I say stuff.
So first, I want to emphasize the fact that a lot of these videos where black women are talking about colorism, texturism, featureism, or not fitting beauty standards, a lot of their videos have to do with school settings. So
a lot of Exotical United and her fellow minions kind of push off, and I wanted to intermince real here, that bullying and harassment does not count in school. Like, it just, if you were at school age, then you should get over any bullying, harassment, or trauma that you may have faced in school, because honestly, it's not even on their radar, which is weird because school is the pinnacle of kids learning societal norms and pressures, of course. So, school is very important to children's development and how they move in the world later. So if you have dark skinned women saying that I was made fun of as a younger person and it leads to me being insecure older, that is still valid no matter how old the child was. Adding my own advice to this young lady, if she ever sees my video, being in a non black space, especially when you're unambiguously dark skinned black person, no matter what country, is a challenge. But having complete pride in your culture and never being silenced, and of course, like Exotical said, speaking up for yourself and not letting people have comments on your appearance is going to help you grow into a blossoming young woman who is beautiful and doesn't have to deal with racist bullies at her school.
But I also want to point out the fact that this girl said that people will point out her blackness. And so she's tying blackness to being ugly. So she's actually giving those like racist people what they wanted by telling the whole world, hey, everybody, just so you know, people said that I was ugly because I'm black. So she's announcing it in front of thousands of people. And it's like, okay, what do you want us to do? And this is why I say a lot of times women who come online talking about how ugly they feel, oftentimes that's a way to get attention and fish for pity compliments. But let's continue. Also, Paris, I just have one question for you. You mad? Did I turn you into an angry black woman? Did I turn you into a walking stereotype? And talking about how she doesn't meet it. So my thing that I've noticed is there will be a lot of unambiguous women who will come online talking about how they don't feel pretty. And it's like, okay, even if you don't meet the beauty standard, what do you want us to do about this? Like, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to compliment you? Do you want people to give you pity dates? This is why I feel like a lot of people, they're just coming online as a way to fish for compliments or fish for sympathy. Or sometimes they will even use this resentment against the woman that they do feel meets that beauty standard. And says, no, literally, I felt this at the HBCU I go to. People single you out because you don't look like them. I've learned not to care anymore. So people singling you out because you don't look like them, this is something that happens to everyone. This happens to mixed women, this happens to skinny women, fat women, tall, short. Anybody could be singled out for not looking like others. Expose yourself again because she tells dark-skinned black women to not give compliments because most people are colorist towards dark-skinned black women. Okay, that's already a toxic mindset right there. Most people are colorist towards dark-skinned black women. That's a toxic sentence. That is a toxic narrative right there. I wouldn't want to be around somebody who never compliments me. And then she said that dark-skinned black women shouldn't have complimented that Indian woman with the long hair because Indians as a people are racist. Oh, but they can have babies with white men, though. So black women, they should not compliment Indians because Indians are racist, according to Chrissie. Indians as a whole are racist. So dark-skinned black women, you guys are not allowed to compliment any Indian women. You should not compliment their hair, even though their hair is pretty. Oh, so notice how she's doing this while simultaneously wearing the hair textures of mixed race women and then playing an Ice Spice song in the background. So you're bragging like you're trying to flex your appearance by looking as close to a dark-skinned Exotical as possible, you know, wanting to have that Chili from TLC phenotype, wanting that Ryan Destiny phenotype, that Justine Sky phenotype. So you're trying to look like a darker-skinned mixed woman while bragging and then saying that people who are intimidated by you are essentially colorist, and then you're also doing it to an Ice Spice song in the back. People in the African American community pretend like they're not dark skinned, or they deny being dark skinned, or they pretend like dark skinned people are basically invisible and like they don't exist, and they don't want to be represented by dark skinned people. I've noticed they don't want their phenotypes to be represented by dark skins. How do I know that? I know that because on my channel, anytime I show an unambiguous black woman to represent black women, actual unambiguous black women will come into my comment section and they will say that I use ugly women to represent them. By the way, the types of women that I've used are Tika Sumpter, Kelly Rowland, Normani, Ari Lennox. I've used non-famous women as well. No matter who I use to represent their phenotype, they don't like it because they would rather have an Exotical, which is a woman who they will accuse later of benefiting from an ism, colorism, texturism, or featurism. They'd rather have a dark-skinned Exotical representing them. If you need more information, everybody's not begging for acceptance like you, Chrissy. Everybody's not begging for the white man to accept them, to marry them, to swirl with them, to have babies with them. Everybody's not begging white people for acceptance. That's you guys. That's what you guys do over there. You guys love approximating yourselves to mixed race women or to white people. You know how the black men, they get some money and then they go to the white community and get a white wife and have kids? Yeah, that's what a lot of you guys do in the unambiguous community. A lot of black women will get some money and some status, and the first thing they do is they run to move out of the black communities with all the dark-skinned black people. They get the hell out of those ghetto-ass communities, and then they go to the white man, and then they go have babies with a white man. So black men and black women are often two sides of the same coin. I said what I said. I stand 10 toes down. If you think I'm colorist, texturist, or racist for saying that, please unsubscribe now. Oh, and also, according to Chrissy, apparently I'm a manipulator. So, yep, check and my subscriber count. I gained 4,000 subscribers from Chrissy, and now I'm going to gain even more subscribers from you. Also, you made the mistake of saying the word exotical in your last live stream, which falls directly into my psychological trap. So, Paris, how does it feel to know that I control your emotions? How does it feel to know that I
And she's light skinned. That's what they're gonna say.
Really?
Yeah, because they think I don't have
you
any.
know, I feel like I'm a brown girl.
Yeah.
You know, back in the days, like light skinned girls, you know, you light skinned.
Yeah. I think this is a tan.
You light skinned.
Can I just say, y'all are both the same to me. I'm sitting over here.
No, this is natural, and this is
California sun.
This is L'Oreal.
Okay.
A little bit of bronzer and whatnot, but normally I'm like. You know, in the wintertime, I'm light.
Light-skinned girls was popping back in the day.
I always thought that the prettiest ones had her complexion and darker. I would always just be staring at them like, why you want to look at my light ass? You know
I used to be jealous. I used to hate my complexion. And I used to be like, why I'm so dark? Why I'm so dark and so skinny? And light-skinned girls was always popping in school with light eyes and brown hair, you know, and I was just like, ugh. So it's just like now, it's just like, fuck, like I'm done.
And I wanted to add that in the midst of the exotical clips because see here how even being an exotical by all definitions, benefiting from texturism, featureism, or colorism doesn't stop you from still being pained by the other branches of isms that you do not have. See the exotical herself complaining about how she was jealous. She used the word jealous of light-skinned women. And I can only imagine like the light-skinned women in her ethnicity probably look different than the light-skinned women in my ethnicity. But look how they were willing to say, oh, I'm brown-skinned, I'm brown, when most of us considered Bernice Burgos to be dark-skinned. Jaden Lee called her light-skinned even though Jaden Lee is lighter than her. And then you see the co-host female, she's like, oh, that's natural, like this is bronze, like I can wash this tan off. So you see how even within the exotical women, you still see inferiority complexes that they swear only unambiguous black women hold. And I do also think that it is important for if mixed people want their space to leave black women out of it entirely. So I have to say, with the struggles of being a dark-skinned, unambiguous black woman, I would hate to see that a channel with 22,000 subscribers posts my video and picks apart me getting bullied at school by non-black men. And I think this is probably the most disgraceful video I've seen on her channel. She was a lot more tender than she is with most people, but I didn't see her have that same sternness with the non-black male who isolated the black student in the classroom. Because no matter what, no child, especially black child, academia should be compromised by bullies. We can agree by a national front that bullying is dangerous. But yet when somebody, a dark-skinned unambiguous black woman, is getting bullied in school, or girl, I do believe she's quite young, getting bullied in school, her first talking point is, well, why did you come into school and think that people were going to like you? You have to do something to be liked. As if that explains why she was picked and singled out for being a black person in a non-black school. It sounded like she was from the UK or maybe a Europe country. I'm not too sure, and I'm very sure if she was from a Europe country, they do things very differently than when we do things out here in the States. So I do understand racism being a huge part too. And I didn't think it was responsible for Exotica to bring this poor girl and plaster her, not give any, loving or tenderling advice. It wasn't as though it was a sisterhood. It was almost to see, like, look, these girls are insecure for real. Like, look at them. Like, look at the babies. Like, look how they babies be crying about how they look. I never seen that one channel plaster a little girl who was a mixed 4-year-old or 10-year-old or 8th grade school doing their hair and being frustrated about it, and then people making think pieces. So I find it very, very interesting that that is a narrative they like to push of black women, but don't like when negative stereotypes of exotical women are pushed as well. I heard a lot of them dislike entirely the baby mama to preference pipeline, and you already know I had to. The baby mama to preference pipeline is a YouTube channel by You're Triggered, and I am subscribed, where they psychoanalyze like the preference to baby. Of course it is what it is, and I heard some of them in the comments not liking that representation at all about exotical women or preference women, and they felt like that was a male-centered talking point. Calling someone a baby mama is male-centered. Well, okay, Even though, as we already established, that the foreign and exotical context word was established in America by men and you essentially rebranded it to mean your own thing, the latter is male centered. But that is a story for another day. I do believe that although exotical sometimes is a bit insensitive, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. The worst of it is the lying and the repackaging of old talking points. I'm here to tell you, child. If I wasn't an OG in these streets and I wasn't like active in the community years ago, you could have fooled me to think that exotical was a full original. And I do think that she's very creative and that some of her stuff is genuinely from the heart. But when we get into some of these talking points, child, and these accolades, you would have thought she invented YouTube. We have here Exotical on a video commenting on how she popularized social strategy, psychology, and womanhood all together in the space. All together, period. Like, she was the only one doing that. No one was doing that before her. She was the only channel to bring back nuance in the conversation. And although, in a blanket, I could agree with her because I don't hear a lot of people talking about nuance. I'm a tea sipper. And of course, if you're a lovely tea sipper, she has been on her channel since 2013 talking about nuance. So I just can't do that. Psychology. If you do not know, Love Dorsey, she is a content creator who is a licensed and educated psychologist. She has a degree in all. Has been making videos since probably 2013 as well about psychology, level up, Black dynamics, and Black centered content since who know when. But of course, anything to repackage some programming and call it your own thing. I'm not mad at her. I just have to call a spade a spade. In a blanket, I could see if you're new to YouTube or you don't watch Black content like that, you could see how she's right and she's coming up with all of these new concepts. But as someone who recognizes exactly where she's getting these concepts from, I kind of feel like she's just a very great fan. I feel this way about her talking points of Chrissie as well. You can tell that she's very heavily influenced by Chrissie, which there's nothing wrong with that. But it's almost to a point where it's weird because you're influenced by Chrissie, but you guys rival. And I mention this because, of course, Chrissie has been talking about social strategy and feminine social strategy for Black women in Black centered spaces for years as well. And if you're true to this game, you would know that deleted videos or not, it still stands that Chrissie's impact is everlasting, even if the videos are taken down. So I think that that is important to call out in case you weren't aware of any unambiguous Black women who were doing the same thing that you are starting to do 3 years ago. I have women who are doing it for close to a decade, if not more than. So I just want to call attention in case people think they are completely original. We all have aspirations and inspiration, but I think always it's okay to give grace and flowers to the OGs. Now, of course, the mistreatment of exoticals is something that is the most talked about on the channel and in the community, period. The overall consensus is that pretty women are in danger. Yes, getting close. You and me are in danger right now because the world is looking to strip pretty women of everything that they have and then some. And in a world where I'm constantly inundated with fear mongering tactics, I tell you, this is a special type of fear mongering tactic because it's almost sort of flattering too. You're so pretty that the world turns against you. You're so pretty that communities turn against you. You're so pretty that you get ostracized. It's your beauty that is the only reason to aid in this treatment. And I think that sometimes our moms tell us this too when we're young girls. And as I was younger, I always tried not to listen to that. A spade, a spade. A lot of these women trauma bond over the fact that exotical women, women with their features, have been singled out and mistreated, assaulted, they've been harmed, they've been harassed, doxxed, let you tell it, black women, black men, white women sometimes are endangering these exoticals for their life. And that wouldn't be a problem if it wasn't as if Black women were public enemy number one. And although I can blame older content creators like a Chrissie or a Paris who went in on these girls and their mamas when it was 2015 and 2016, I can't pick up words that I did not speak myself. And as somebody who has not harassed a mixed girl in my life or light skinned, I would like to say that sometimes in the interactions, mistreatment can be a number of things. And I would like to encourage my strategic girls. This is what sets us apart. We look beyond the flesh. We need to be looking at the spirit. People can have the spirit of jealousy in any skin tone. Sometimes racism and colorism can exacerbate that. I will not lie. But sometimes it's your spirit and your aura. You can be a fly girl, you can be bubbly, and they can just dislike your aura. So sometimes I feel as though, although I am empathizing with the Exoticals and women all together, at the base of it, they're women coming together saying they've been mistreated by other women. I have to understand that that is the name of the game. We have to be able to call out women, regardless of if they look like me or not, staying on code or not, who don't represent me. I cannot hold on for the bitter and then the angry outlook. I can't stand for the name calling on either side. Exotical's not out of my book because she also engages in this as well. If you would see and look back at my Chrissie beef, which was my first video ever on my channel, you would see that Chrissie had called Exotical United out for laughing and joking with a male centered, oh, not Miss Decenter male. She was on a male YouTube channel laughing with Mr. Chrissie, a blue, black, crunchy, a primate, which was, of course, I called racist, and I still stand by is racist. She was laughing and having a good old time with that colorist, black, male channel? I'm a little confused because Miss Exotical, I thought you were decentered men, boo-boo. So why is Chrissie catching you in men's comment section laughing at another girl? That doesn't give very girl at all. So I also need to talk about the hypocrisy. You see that there's been a lot of blows back and forth, and I mentioned both because neither is wrong. But both are very harmful for the community and the fabric that keeps us together as black women, especially black women in America. And now, of course, I do center majority of my videos for everybody, but I do think that I want the unambiguous black women, especially dark-skinned and American, to take a special listen to this video, as I hope that I can heal some wounds that may have been painful for you as me. With the Chrissie beef and the Paris Milan beef, and me covering both of those topics along with Exotical being the antagonist, I had gotten a lot of feedback from all sides. Black woman empowerment, Exotical empowerment, apparently, the Goldensphere, and even true mixed women who claim that the Exotical women are nothing but black women cosplaying as mixed girls. And unfortunately, I have to call a spade a spade. If this was simply just mixed women and their banshee of girls doing them, I would maybe let it slide. But I'm seeing a lot of dark-skinned, unambiguously such, American or not women, of multitudes of cultures relating to an Exotical not in a healthy way. Because me, I can look at the platform, and although I don't like the rhetoric about my own personal group, enjoy the advice and somewhat girliness of it all, I don't attach to her in the way that you can see some of her audience does in the comment section. Not that that's a bad thing. Some people have that captivation. But I noticed that a lot of her people give her a pass. You see that Coily, right? Coily, she wanted to, hop in, and she had indirectly kind of subbed my video in her recent, when Exoticals are colorist towards dark-skinned women video that she just did. When she made that video, she had subbed me, but I had never once heard her cry about Exotical laughing at a black male calling her a primate. I mean, that's racist. That crosses color, that crosses texture. I thought y'all all loved Chrissie. Calling somebody a monkey over the internet and you being in his comment section a hee and a ha ha, that is not cute, boo boo. You cried when Paris Milan called you a mammy, which rightfully so. If that's how you felt, go ahead. But I didn't see you have those same tears for your fellow Chrissie. But apparently you guys all watched her. Y'all all loved Chrissie, so what happened to the same sympathy you had for her? I say that because why not Coily, as though although she indirectly commented on my video, she did add a little bit more context to my original talking point that I said about her in my Paris Milan video. I called her delusional because I felt like to repeat what these two women said to you that clearly wasn't based in any type of reality based off of their own insecurities to prove a point to the internet was a bit comical, because I find a common trait within all of these exotical women, especially if they're of the darker complexion, that they feel the need to point out certain features that they hold that makes them different, but then they claim that black women other them. And that was a lot of what Coily was talking about in this video. And although I do feel like I commented on her hair, that was my first video ever seeing of her. And although it may have been projection, I will take a step back and give my own context as to why I feel that way. Quite honestly, I've just met a lot of black women with a lot of weird complexes about their hair, and you can like tell. So I wasn't trying to like pick on Coily, no, absolutely not. But you can tell when women have a lot of trauma connected to their hair. I've just been around a lot of black women who they have like an inferiority complex about kinkier textures of hair. Not saying this is Coily, I'm just saying my own personal experience. And they will wear their hair in straighter textures often, be dishonest about it, or kind of like be willfully ignorant, kind of like to play into that like straight hair kind of thing. So I just got that vibe from her, and that's why I said what I said. Wedding scenario. She first of all othered herself by saying two unambiguous black women. She didn't say all three of us unambiguous black women. She said, or just us three black women were in a conversation. She made it a point to say that in this conversation it was two unambiguous black women and then it was her, not a part of the two. As we understand simple context, grammar, and English, I think I was pretty valid in drawing the conclusions that I made about Coily and standing by it. Of course, she is not singled out by her texture of hair or by her skin tone, but rather by her mindset entirely, that because somebody was picking on her or made mean-spirited comments about who she was as a person or an individual or her bloodline, that was anyway of a reflection of her blackness or their blackness and not a reflection of their spirit entirely. And that is what's irresponsible about this entire YouTube community. They will sit there and attach bitter and mean and angry and dangerous to a skin tone before they ever do it to a spirit and to a characteristic and to a narcissism. And that's why I can't take a lot of these women seriously, because although I feel like she was more confused about them mentioning white men and their attraction to her, I think she also understood because subconsciously she had already othered herself from those women when she was speaking with them. And you have it happen to a lot of people. And the ways that I can relate is sometimes people will hear the way that I speak and attribute me to a particular lifestyle, not knowing me, and they will not like me and then other themselves. And then that happens. That is social dynamics. I don't think that stops the exotical from having her experience. I don't think I can call Coily a liar. What I can say is, when you said that, you also never cared about exotical picking apart the brown skin and dark skinned girls on her videos when she talks about like when they're talking about their experiences and the bullying and how they get jumped by light-skinned women and mixed women and how they're on the run and how they're being endangered. You don't have the same energy for that type of content, but you want to put this same rhetoric out against unambiguous dark-skinned women while still not 100% calling yourself an exotical, but enjoying to be alluded to an exotical. See, because a lot of you women, you secretly will take being reference in closeness to whiteness as a compliment. You'll act fake offended. Oh, what? I'm not white. And they'll eat it up in the comments. Like, they'll love it for real, for real. So I just wanted to mention that too. People love to benefit wherever they can. And that mention, and with speaking about Coily, I also have to mention Kia Roan, because Kia Roan also made a video about Exotical United in Paris Milan, and I had seen Kia Roan in Paris Milan's comments section before Paris had took everything down. Now, of course, I wasn't expecting to make this video, and I was definitely not expecting for Paris to take her YouTube channel down. So you guys are just going to have to believe me and trust that I'm not lying. But Kia Roan was in Paris Milan's comment section, and she was practically saying the same thing that she did in her video, that she didn't believe that Paris Milan was bleaching. But before Paris Milan checked out of YouTube, she did serve Kia Roan a quick serve about hopping back and forth between the Exotical platforms and Black Woman Empowerment, Paris Milan's platform. So I think that when she made her video, although she didn't address Paris like coming for her in the comment section, that's why I was super interested to watch what Kia had to say, because I recognized her from Paris's video.
Beauty to me was problematic, especially as an Afro-Latina. I think that sort of rhetoric is dangerous because it perpetuates certain myths and ideas about Black women's beauty, and it forces us to all be aligned with a certain phenotype that just truly does not represent every Black woman. Like, if we're talking about Black women globally, like not just Black American women, Black women globally that would fall in the diaspora, that would be a part of the diaspora. There's so many different phenotypes that we honestly can have. And, you know, deep dark skin, extremely kinky hair, larger, wider features is not the only way we can look. Over in Africa, the continent of Africa, literally depending on what side of the continent you're on, whether in the western, the eastern, the northern, or the southern, you're going to run into different types of phenotypes of African women. They're all African, but they all have different phenotypes. And I think Exotical United has a point with that. And oftentimes I have felt like I couldn't sit firmly on the Black woman scale of beauty because it's not my hair. It's not my hair. I will insert a picture of my hair, but my hair texture is not really kinky. I don't have a really wide nose. I don't have really dark skin. I have those features that would be considered, I guess, not the typical Black American phenotype. And I grew up understanding that we all look different, you know, especially coming from a Caribbean and a Hispanic background.
So when Kia Roan was talking in her video about Paris Milan and Exotical United, she took a quick moment to mention that she didn't feel like she had the stereotypical Black American features and that she was othered because of this as well. As you see, we have a common theme of mistreatment of Exotical women. Now, of course, they don't care when Black women are mistreated. Not by Black men, not by Exotical women, but they do care when Black women are mistreating Exotical women. Let's call a spade a spade. We can care about that, but we should all care about everything equally. But let's listen on to Kia Roan. Kia Roan, in the middle of the video that wasn't even about her, decided to talk about her features, and she said that her hair wasn't that kinkier, her nose wasn't that big, her lips weren't that big, and she didn't feel like she had the stereotypical African American features. Now, I wasn't shading Kia Roan for agreeing with a Exotical United like she tried to claim on her video, slow-key subtly clapping back at me. But I did want to comment on her quickness to use her features as supporting arguments as to why she was mistreated before her own personal character or anything like that. But let these women tell you they're so beautiful, they make the world stop. And I don't doubt that. You guys are all gorgeous. But I don't know if you guys are attracting the attention that you are based off of your features, more so your attitude and your spirit and your discernment. But that is a conversation for another day. So she was talking about how she didn't feel like Paris Milan was bleaching her skin, but she did agree with an Exotical United, which I wasn't upset about. Which I was commenting on was that her willingness to deny her prominent Black features in order to call herself supporting an Exotical United. And you see a lot of them do that too. They'll pick that one or that two feature that they can use, and they'll use that as a supporting argument of why they should be able to support an Exotical United or like her talking points. When I just told you guys I'm not mad at Exotical United's content and I actually enjoy her videos sometimes, I didn't need to use my hair texture as a supporting argument for that. You can just let the art speak for itself. But a lot of these women, they can't, because honestly, they need somebody to be the enemy. Kia Roan, she unnecessarily put the heat on her features by commenting on it and then called us uncultured dick suckers who didn't know anything about Afro-Latina community or the Afro-Latina culture, and that was basically untraveled, yet again, in her comment section. And that's not what we were saying. Before Exotical commented and added her own little sauce and flipped the video, we were telling Kia Roan that we did feel like she had the pretty prominent African American features regardless of what her culture was. And she kept mentioning that she was Afro-Latina, although I forget the exact ethnicities right now. And although I understood, sis, you said it like 6 times already. That is not what we're saying. We're commenting on the phenotype. So when we do tell these women that we think they look like us and that they're not too far out from us, or that we have family that looks like them, or that they're allowed in Black women's spaces, or what have you, when we extend the olive branch to these women, what do? They snap back. They get sassy. They call you untraveled in the comment section because you say that their nose and their lips have nothing to do with their racial identity or their blackness. And your culture is also very separate from your blackness as well. You can culturally be something and racially be monoracially black or monoracially white. It happens all the time. But with so many people who talk about nuance, I never hear these women speak about that. I don't see an Exotical United plastering Biggie from Baddies on her channel as representation for exotical women. She speaks Spanish. She's from the Dominican Republic. But Biggie looks closer to an unambiguous Black woman regardless of her foreign ties to out of America. So they're not going to use women who look like Biggie as examples, even though we understand that Biggie is a monoracial Black person, regardless of her culture being from Dominican Republic. I mention that because a lot of you women like to use your culture as a shield as to why you should be able to be less Black than the rest of the girls. And I think it's comical. I think although appreciation is key, I think some of you guys are truly trying to pedestalize the wrong things about yourself in a sense to be in community with the pretty girl club. Because of course, Biggie from Baddies is not the Exoticals poster child, not at all. You actually see them uplift women like Bernice Burgos. And when Exotical United made her YouTube channel or her YouTube video about Kia Roan's channel, she called her dark-skinned and said when dark-skinned women agree with Exotical United, it's a problem. So clearly she agrees that Kia Roan is dark-skinned, which she said she wasn't that dark, but Exotical agrees. We all agreed in the comments that your nose was quite wide and could be wider than other African American people we know. And of course, as a fellow wide-nosed African American, I have to say it because someone's going to cry in the comments if I don't. Kia Roan is very beautiful, very gorgeous, okay? Honestly, quite frankly, I wouldn't have asked 2 questions. When she said she was Afro-Latina, I believed her. Okay, I wouldn't have asked if she was Afro-Latina, but when she said it, I was like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? And I don't think that we were weaponizing having a wide nose, like she said in her comment. I'm going to read the comment, at least this part of it. I'm not going to read that entire dissertation. Y'all are crazy. But I'll read that part of it because I thought this was interesting. Weaponizing having a wide nose or the typical African American phenotype is exactly what Black women do when they feel another Black woman has privilege that they don't have. They begin trying to project onto her as a way of saying, no, you're not as beautiful as you think you are. If you actually believed that Black American phenotype was beautiful, you would not use it as a weapon against other Black women. So this is why I can't agree, because no one was using a wide nose as if it was a weapon. Me telling you that you have a wide nose is not the same as me saying that your wide nose is ugly. Okay, so stop like using big words and like trying to trick the audience into agreeing with you. That's not what happened. We just said we agreed that you had a wide nose. The wide nose that you didn't agree you had, we just agreed that you had a wide nose. You can't tell us how we can categorize your features. We categorize people's features every day in the real world. When we categorize people's race, we use their hair, their nose, their facial structure as telltale signs of what we would categorize them. So I don't know why she felt like us saying that she has or confirming that she has a wide nose was weaponizing. The only thing that would make me feel like I was weaponizing that is if she already felt like having a wide nose was negative, which I believe she thought having a wide nose was negative because She went out of her way to say that she doesn't believe that she had that wide nose, and then got really upset when people said, well, you do have that wide nose, and now we're dick eating in the comments. So, I just wanted to call out the hypocrisy that I've been seeing on these YouTube streets for the past few weeks now. You guys have been going unchecked, and I just been needing to get this off my chest because you've been bogus the entire time. And even though your lips weren't as wide, we also commented that every African or Black descendant does not have wide lips, as you mentioned in your video, but also kind of retracted from the statement at the end of your video to boast on your own features. So you see how these women will say one thing, but they'll act in another. Black is all beautiful, but y'all don't understand that I'm also Venezuelan too. Like, y'all should embrace that I'm Venezuelan too. And then when we tell these women, okay, well, go out into the non-Black community. Why don't you center your content about non-Black community? Why don't you center non-Black women, since you want to embrace your cultural differences from Black people so much? Since you have so many differences with Black American people, why is it so hard for you to go over there with non-Black people or mixed women by yourself without dragging Black women into it and be in community? Because although the Exoticals are united in community, they need Black women to mule them to mainstream success first. They need the women who are willing to measure their nose and, look at their nose size and their lips shape before they call themselves Exotical. You have women that are getting the Gina curl and then calling themselves an Exotical. I heard an Exotical's clap back to Paris that if Paris was indeed bleaching her skin, that Paris could also get Exotical tax. So you don't even have to be an authentic Exotical to be a part of the club. You can get the injections, you can get the melanin, whatever you need to do. If you didn't want melanin anymore, if you wanted to perm your hair and get a 3C curl, and then after that you wanted to call yourself a different name and speak Spanish, as inauthentic as all of that was to your true character in identity, with Exotical's talking point, it seems as though you can be an Exotical. So what would be the point in you women who are authentic Exoticals fighting so hard to prove that you're not jealous of women who look different from you? Because again, Exotical United called out Black Barbie 2.0. And of course, Black Barbie did a classy clapback. She wore her real hair in her latest video, showing that she was not afraid to be seen in her natural hair, that she was beautiful and confident with it, and that she was not having any of that inferiority complex talk on her channel. So she didn't really respond to Exotical directly, but don't worry, sis, I have you. So Exotical United felt so compelled to clap back at the Black Barbie 2.0, who also makes colorism content here. And she's a younger girl, and she actually is a lot more balanced than you would have a Chrissie or a Paris, who would call biracial people hideous hybrids. But she in turn was saying that because she was wearing weaves and because she had different hairstyles, that she was insecure and that she was worried about light-skinned women while trying to uplift her own standard of beauty. But you see, when they do that on their channels, it's same. It's not a problem. Like, it's nothing to see here. But let Black women try them at their own game. It's almost as if it's not palatable to the audience. But I digress. Because I noticed that when we have this over analyzation of Black culture, that a lot of people do not enjoy it all as much. A lot of people actually microanalyze Black American culture so much, especially here on YouTube. They get a bag from it every month and have been established in picking apart Black Americans and our cultural differences, so much so that you're never going to be able to get women like that to have a common accord with sense. And because I don't fight in the mud with pigs, I'm not going to ask anybody to change their ideals. I don't think a colorist woman should stop being colorist after listening to my video. I don't think a dark-skinned woman who hates light-skinned women should stop after this video. Why? Because I am not responsible for you guys' interpretation of Black beauty, and I am not supposed to be a warrior on the internet, and neither are my other fellow Black women for you guys' ideals and soft life. Unfortunately, I'm tired of you guys using us as a punching bag whenever you need content. They swear that the Exoticals are the talk of the town, but when you see whose names are in their mouths, it seems like they really do want to talk about Black women. And although I understand that they are not non-white centered, why are they Black centered when they want to be othered so drastically? And I'm not saying that there hasn't been abuse on either or all sides. But when it's time to speak about the dark-skinned woman's abuse, no one has the same energy. So I honestly can keep the same energy with you in your stories. Now, I find it funny because multiple different cultures are able to still be celebrated and pedestalized regardless of their self-hate issues. You have a lot of people in the Asian community, which most people don't necessarily know. Asians tend to have wider noses. You can look on Reddit threads where they talk about how they have like an Asian wide full nose. The same full wide nose that they attribute to black features. Yeah, we see full Asian people also have these features too. You don't see Asian people separating themselves and calling themselves the exotic Korean of the bunch. I mentioned Asian culture because a lot of people love anime. They love Asian culture. They participate in it even if they aren't directly like tied to any Asian heritage. And Asian culture, like I love Chinese food, I just feel like a lot of people indulge in Asian culture, but they never really like speak about the self-hatred that Asians have. They're still able to get appreciation in their culture without being demonized for being insecure about certain things due to systematic oppression. And you also don't see think pieces on women in Korea who paint their face 10 shades lighter to appeal on a YouTube video. You don't care about them using tape or skin bleaching methods to appeal to exotic ideals, but what you do care about is black women fighting and standing fast in the fact that they are beautiful regardless of how they present to you. And you can't tell me that in one breath you're okay with Paris Milan bleaching her skin and getting her exotical tags, but then in the next you're picking on the Barbie Life 2.0 because she's wearing a wig in her colorism video. When you can see she has other hairstyles that are also coily, curly, and a little bit of a mix. So it's kind of weird how they said that. But black women, take notes. When we tell you to wear your natural hair and stop with the baby hairs and the European standards of beauty, protective style or not, we mean it. It's okay to have kinky, coily, or even kinky straight hair that mimics your natural hair texture as a style. That's fine. It doesn't have to be gelled or slicked every single time. But it's okay for exoticals because skin bleach, but hair weaves is where we draw the line. You give these women an impression that you want to look like them when you wear hair textures similar to them. I don't wear hair textures similar to mixed women, light skinned women, or like straight hair at all. I always wear kinky, even if it is an extension. Because not only does it set me apart, and not a lot of black women do this in America, but as well as set me apart, it enhances my beauty a lot better than straight Brazilian, kinky, like the curly kind of stuff ever will. I do type 4 hair extensions, and you can find them at like Her Given Hair. Not a lot of people sell them because it's not really in demand, but I'm telling you, women, if you want to truly let these women have their own beauty standard, you can't be caught trying to mimic that because it does inherently make you look bad, especially with the women who always wear weaves and wigs and are very, very dependent on weaves and wigs to feel beautiful or to have any type of pretty privilege or social currency. I'm not one of these women personally, so I cannot relate, but I do speak out against that as a black woman, but I see that they never put the women who speak out against that on, any type of pedestal. They never talk about the dark-skinned women who are wearing their natural hair in their videos. Why? Because they put their own beauty on a pedestal, which is very, very important on YouTube. When we embrace our Afrocentric standard of beauty, we won't be caught in allegations trying to deny that we embrace or pedestalize European standards of beauty overall. And that their experiences are valid as black culture without any hate involved, we seem to not be able to get the exoticals to swallow that pill because we still have to find an enemy. If we're not going to make men the enemy, if we're not going to make non-black women the enemy, it seems like black women are left holding the bag. And I say, black women, don't fall for it. I don't have to hold any bag. Just because some 6 unambiguous black women jumped you doesn't mean you get to carry around biases till you're 30 years old. And if you find yourself carrying those biases, I do think that you should find yourself thinking about people in other countries. People in other countries they call quote unquote third world. They escape and go to America for some very, very, very serious things, guys. Some are inundated by gangs, drugs, violence in their hometowns. Have cities and towns that are run by very bad people. And when they leave these countries, they leave so and search for a better life wherever they decide to go. But what you notice about these people, whether they're in Venezuela or in Africa, who leave their home countries in pursuit of a better life in America or in the West, you notice that they rep themselves with pride regardless of if the triad that was their same skin complexion or not hurt them or took money from them or burned down their home, regardless of if their government was being corrupt and hurting them. They still rep their flag with pride. They still rep their culture with pride, and they would do nothing but be proud of the culture they have, no matter if they have dealt with some bad apples. And I find that some of these exotical women are reminiscent of black women who've had very, very, very negative experiences with the black community and want to call themselves divesting. You have a lot of this Blackistan talk, where because you had negative experiences in the black community, you just shield yourself from the black culture altogether and search for something quote unquote less harmful to you. And what's less harmful is somehow Queen of Kings, divestment, and whatever else you guys like to do instead of embracing black culture in its fullest. You have women who claim that they're black and they love black women, but they're not willing to stand in blackness in all shades, in all disagreements, in all hair textures and skin tones. Then fine, go to your platforms and your channels. But I do not think that making black women your case study, especially if you want these women to mule your talking point to mainstream success. See, Exotical United, first she's going to get the exotical black women, which I do believe are women like maybe a Bernice Burgos or maybe a April Jones. Women who look like her I would consider exotical or ambiguous. They would have those black women separate themselves from the community while pigeonholing themselves on black-centered topics, spaces, etc. And I think it's ludicrous because as much as these girls talk about hating the black community, they can't keep it out their mouths to save their life. And I also think that it's because a lot of these women are black adjacent. It is not women who have zero ties to the black community who have such passionate think pieces about how black women interpret their hair. You actually have a lot of these women who are very much so rooted in the black community who feel as though they want to be. The exotical platform is starting to sound a lot like separate but equal. Like, yeah, we have different features, but we're all beautiful though, but we just have to make the distinction that we have different features. And I don't believe that separate but equal worked. I did want to make a close by saying that I do not believe because the Exotical United platform is harmful that gives some harmful black woman platforms any room to stand on. I do believe that certain women are selling insecurities for money on their platform. You have lots of women who are willing to hyper focus on the negative of whatever group they attribute themselves to be due to trauma bonding on the internet. I now feel like it's time for us to repivot all of that hatred, any anxiety, any treatment or trauma that had been attributed to our dark skin. I think we need to reflect life back into our look, unambiguously so. An inferiority complex does not speak for me. Violence and hatred does not speak for me. And any of the creators that you guys like to lump up with all of us black women who speak for us, many of them have left the colorism conversation, ditched, deleted their Instagram, wanting to focus on more mainstream topics anyway. So if you really have issues with how your race or your group was spoke about, please direct that to the channels who are doing that and not the people who don't make fun of people. But me never as an unambiguous black woman, never could I other myself and say that other unambiguous or other ambiguous black women actually have othered me and in turn made me feel insecure, and that's why I just don't like any black woman at all and I'm just divested. Oh, that'll be coonery behavior. You know who did that? Treasure from Dr. Phil. She did that. She came and said a lot of the stuff that a lot of you girls' talking points is, and not feeling pride within their black culture, regardless of any slights that they may have had in their own community. And as I mentioned, other communities don't operate like that. They don't have a code like that. They don't get from a Latin country, and after having all types of adversities in a Latin America, down talk Latin America. They would never do that. But a lot of you women, you guys feel very, very, very comfortable selling out the black community for quick money and games. Screw your black father, screw your black sister, screw your black mom, screw your black friends that y'all have once y'all turn off these videos and y'all log out for the night. Screw all of them, because if you can get money off of being a detriment to the confidence of unambiguous black women, you're gonna do that. And because this is the game that Exotical United has played, and a lot of her Ace Boon Coons, her A1 homies, I'm just here to say, black women, this gives you all rights to benefit. If they think that they're going to get 20,000 subscribers off of you and your content, oh, definitely don't hesitate to try to use that back at them. And if they're not willing and being united, understand that you have full rank to put your beauty on a pedestal. And you should continue to do that through actions and not speaking.
Spreading propaganda, or overall being detrimental to any group of people for any reason.
Because a lot of times with these talking points, you guys get yourself in a lot of trouble because you're being biased. You're being hateful, spiteful even. Exotical United truly feels like whatever isolation that she felt during the platform with Chrissie, she felt like that was cause enough to go on the internet and scour and pick apart young women who have insecurities and body dysmorphia with their dark skin. And although uplifting them would be too easy, to pick them apart as long with the non-black party is perfect. So I don't think that women, I think we should make a distinction here and now. If you guys want to be Exoticals, fine. But I think you guys should actually launch it all the way. If you are black women and you want to be considered an Exotical, I think y'all should put y'all face on that. And not only put your face on that, I think you guys should stand on that 10 toes. But what I don't think you should do is drag black women into your thumbnails or into your talking points when you need a re-up on the ad revenue for the month. I don't think that you guys can pick fights with dark-skinned women and throw shade at dark-skinned women and then try to act like you're just responding. No, you are also being shady. I also don't think a lot of you guys have the same girls girl mentality that I keep hearing. I keep hearing girls girl, girls girl. I don't think a lot of you guys are girls girls, because I would never laugh at another woman's insecurities, no matter how ridiculous they may sound, because that is not what girls girls do.
Is that not ironic to y'all? Oh, you guys think dark skin is a handicap? Well, girl, apparently you do too. I mean, you're skin bleaching and fucking putting your internal organs in danger to have light skin. Apparently you think it's a handicap too. I've never done that. So, I mean, who really needs the lessons on self-love here? It's not Chrissie. It's not Chrissie and the women over here. This is crazy to me. And I saw one of the Psychoticals say something like, oh, well, you know, pretty and confident dark-skinned women, they aren't complaining about colorism. Okay, but we also don't see pretty and confident women bleaching their skin.
Right there. Right there.
Apparently, V, that is an Exotical, to answer your question. That is an Exotical.
Like no other.
When
She's different.
When she's in that black dress and the modeling thing, we zoomed at her. She looked just like Kiki Palmer right there.
Yes. And she's so, here's the thing, I think she's beautiful, and honestly, this is low-key really sad to me.
No, that's why
very sad.
We never said she wasn't. I've always said that she was attractive. I just said that she was misrepresenting her phenotype, which she
I'm always gonna be real, okay? I never said that she was ugly, but she's not what she's selling. Far fucking from it. So she's not as beautiful as she portrays herself to be. And I've always said that. And I'm like, yeah, she's completely, it's not even like someone who exaggerates about their looks or maybe even, you know, they're being a bit dramatic about it. She's completely lying about that. It's so far from Christina Milian as you can. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a crazy that like it's embarrassing.
Breaking news. So allegedly they have just exposed Exotical United's face in Instagram. Now this was the Goldensphere who has leaked this information. No ambiguous women were harmed in the making of this video. And I just wanted to add on my more refined opinion after this update in the case. See, it's interesting how, you know, you can clock something and people will call you crazy. So I wonder what you guys' response is going to be in the comment section, because apparently you guys weren't all black passing, but it seems like a lot of you are black passing. I'm going to put like an Exotical mugshot back up here. Nothing to be ashamed about, ladies. You're all beautiful. And just in case I haven't specified that, these women are all beautiful, but we have to be honest that a lot of them are a lot more black passing than they actually want to readily admit, you know? And it's giving like a weird mentality. And honestly, I'm going to rename this video. I'm going to call this the Uncle Ruckus mentality, because this is how a lot of people are when they have self-hatred issues and body dysmorphia that they haven't checked with a professional about. They will like walk into the world and they will disassociate from their features. You know how they have like eyebrow blindness. Some of you guys have like actual like feature blindness, and you're acting like you don't know what you look like. And then you're dragging the phenotype that looks closest to you while trying to mean girl it up on your YouTube video. As I said, it was disgraceful for Exotical United to bring a high schooler into the online realm to critique her being bullied at school. And actually, when I watched the full video, that girl was not lying, because they will do that, especially when you're in a non-black space and you're full dark-skinned black. Like, you can't hide behind an ambiguity. You just stand in pride in your skin tone and your culture. Oh yeah, when you're like that, they will like bully you. So look how desensitized they are to abuse of unambiguous dark-skinned women, but look how easily they tried to call that these dark-skinned women were abusing them. And what also makes sense too, a lot of you women are facing a lot of abuse from like the quote-unquote black community due to your proximity too. We ain't gonna talk about that today. That's a video for another day. But a lot of people have an issue with like the crab in the barrel mentality, but it's like you literally are the crab. So like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? I'm seeing this as the Uncle Ruckus mentality, where a lot of you guys hate anything that's full black and that's powerful and beautiful. You won't let that stand in its beauty, but you will falsely claim titles and mix around and play all these mental gymnastics with the internet in order to get your 15 minutes of fame. Whole time turns out this was nothing but black woman on black woman rhetoric. And I'm ready to kind of just consider Exotical United black woman empowerment territory. Honestly, at this point, I really can say that, because it's not even ran by a non-black party. So I can't even do it, or a full mixed party. I'm not sure if she's actually like 50% mixed or not, but like, again, I'm confused, because I thought you were part of the Goldensphere, but then we were caping for black women, but then we weren't caping for black women because we were dragging them in our videos, but we need black women to look at us. So you see a lot of these women, they look like a treasure, and they're dragging women who look like treasure in the comments, claiming that they don't look like the women that they look like. So I'm seeing a lot of disassociation. I'm seeing a lot of mental health illness. I'm seeing a lot of mental illness. I think some of y'all need to really like log out, check out. And I do it all the time. Check out, get yourself right, and get back to it. But honestly, I'm not sure how black woman empowerment is going to progress after this. And I'm not sure if they're going to be able to accept Exotical United into this space. I feel like very soon they also will be a man without a country. As you can tell, the biracial women or true quote unquote Exoticals, they're really not messing with the brand. So if Exoticals in real time are messing with the brand, and it's really just dark skinned black women or monoracial black women who are clutching to the Exoticals brand, I really think that it's going to become another one of those coonery towns on YouTube. like a Tommy Sotomayor or anyone else of those, you know, coonery towns on YouTube, where they just drag black people for the filth and they just start saying outlandish stuff and we just ignore them because they sound like cuckoo crazy. But honestly, this is just my updated opinion. I still stand by everything I said, and I wonder how the posse is going to react to this, because they were so ready to like drag my video and drag my channel or call me a struggle channel. But look at like the chickens coming home to roost and the quality speaking for itself. So I just wanted to point that out too. I still stand by my 2 videos, but this is a more refined opinion. Of course, we can make refined opinions. Our opinions can change or alter. And I don't even feel like my opinion changed. My opinion's the same. My opinion is just shown in a new perspective with added on information. But this has been the update. Have a good night, and y'all need to get some water and some sleep, because it's epidemic out here, you guys. Be safe.
And it just seems like the plot thickens over and over. They will not let me edit my video in peace. I am literally just information just keeps coming, and I'm trying to edit it, and then I'm trying to change it and add more, and it's crazy. But I wanted to add on, right now we have Exotical United lying about that being her in the video. She's lying. She said that she lied to Gigi. She's trying to play this master manipulator reverse psychology role. I knew that she was a fake this whole time, so I told you the wrong information on purpose. She's lying. I can tell you for a fact Exotical United is lying, because I found her channel where she shows her face, and if you look at it, you can hear her voice with her other videos, dragging black women, and her regular cutesy little videos. This is the same voice, so we know that it's you. You can stop lying. If you're gonna lie to your audience, I mean, you do you. That's not my audience, so you can like lie to your audience if you want, but I wouldn't like people lying to me. And her audience just plays like willfully dishonest and ignorant. Like, they act like they just don't see the stuff that's happening. They don't see the shady stuff because they really want to cling on to an exotical. Like, they just really can't see their lives without exotical content. I feel sorry for you guys, but this has been The Strategically Feminine. Thank you so much for listening to my video. We seem to have a nice little series here, so I might keep the gravy train rolling. But other than that, thank you so much. Be good people, be holy people, read the word, spread the word, and of course, I'm going to be back in my next video. Bye, guys.
Hey baddies, so today I'm going to be doing a try-on haul. I'm going to be doing kind of these like shirts that are romantic looking, almost like a Bridgerton style aesthetic. So this is one of the shirts that I got from Shein. A lot of these shirts are like under $10. And for reference, I'm pretty tall. I'm about 5'8", 5'9", and my boob size is about probably between a C and a D. So I recently got a boob job. I actually got my boobs like reduced. So they're still a little bit swollen.